A mysterious app. A voice in my earbuds. A rule I should have never broken. I thought it was just a harmless music app until the voice started talking to me, giving me warnings. And then, one night, something knocked on my door. Something that wasn't human. What happens when you download something you shouldn't have? When the whispers in your headphones turn real. Watch the full story now on my channel. Don't forget to subscribe for more terrifying stories. I never really cared much about fancy headphones. As long as they played music and didn't cut out in the middle of a song, they were good enough for me. But that day, I came across a deal that was just too good to pass up. It was a small electronics store, one of those tucked away in the corner of a shopping district where you wouldn't expect to find anything remarkable. I had just finished work and was about to head home when I noticed the clearance sale sign in the window. Inside, among a mess of cables, phone cases, and outdated gadgets, I saw them. A sleek, black pair of wireless earbuds with a minimalist design. No brand name, no flashy packaging, just a plain white box with high-quality sound printed in bold letters. How much for these? I asked the store clerk, a tired-looking man in his 50s. $40, he said without much interest. 40? For wireless. He shrugged. They were returned, but they work fine. You want them or not? It seemed like a steal. High-quality wireless earbuds for a fraction of the price? Why not? I handed him the money and walked out of the store with my new purchase. The first signs. That night, I unboxed them. The case was smooth matte black, and the earbuds fit perfectly in my ears. As soon as I paired them with my phone, I noticed how clear the sound was, better than any headphones I'd owned before. I put on my usual playlist, lay back in bed, and closed my eyes. At first, everything was fine. The bass was deep, the vocals crisp, and there were no connectivity issues. But then, in the middle of a song, I heard something strange. A whisper. It was faint, buried deep in the background noise of the track. At first, I thought it was part of the song, maybe some hidden lyrics or an audio effect. But as I listened more carefully, my skin started to crawl. Because the whisper wasn't part of the song. It was separate. Independent, like someone was speaking through the static. I took the earbuds out and looked around my room. Nothing. Just the faint hum of my laptop and the ticking of the wall clock. Shaking my head, I put them back in and skipped to the next song. Again, the whisper. This time, it was clearer. I couldn't make out the words, but it sounded like a voice, a real voice, breathing right into my ear. I yanked the earbuds out. My heart was pounding. Great, I muttered. Faulty audio. Should have known. I decided to ignore it for now. Maybe it was just interference. I'd try them again tomorrow. The first words. The next morning, I put them back in while walking to work. The city was noisy, car horns, people talking, the usual chaos. But as soon as the earbuds connected, all of that disappeared. It was just me and my music. For the first 10 minutes, everything was fine. No static, no whispers. Just music. Then, just as I was crossing a street, the voice spoke. Stop. I froze. The word was clear, not a whisper this time. A direct command, spoken in a calm, almost robotic tone. I pulled out one earbud and looked around, expecting to see someone next to me. But there was no one. Just traffic and strangers rushing past. I was about to step forward when a car sped through the red light, missing me by inches. My stomach dropped. If I had taken one more step, I let out a shaky breath and turned off the earbuds. Maybe I was imagining things, but that voice, it had warned me. And it had just saved my life. The second warning. That night, lying in bed, I couldn't stop thinking about it. Was it a coincidence? Some glitch in the audio that just sounded like a voice? Or was it something else? Hesitantly, I put the earbuds back in. For a few minutes, everything was normal. I played a podcast, tried to distract myself. Then, do not open the door. I sat up so fast that my headphones almost fell out. What door? A second later, there was a knock. A slow, deliberate knock at my apartment door. I turned toward it, my heartbeat echoing in my ears. 3 more knocks. Do not open it, the voice repeated. This time, there was a slight urgency in the tone. I swallowed hard and slowly got out of bed. The knocks continued, steady, patient. I approached the door and looked through the peephole. Nothing. Just the empty hallway. I hesitated. Maybe it was my neighbor? A delivery? But as I reached for the handle, the voice spoke again, this time in a tone that sent ice down my spine. He is still there. My breath caught in my throat. I didn't see anyone. But something in that voice, in the certainty of its words, made me step away from the door. The knocking stopped. I stood there, heart hammering, listening to the silence. After what felt like forever, I finally exhaled and pulled the earbuds out. The voice was gone, but I had the terrible feeling that whatever had been outside wasn't, and it was still watching me. I barely slept that night. Even after the knocking stopped, I couldn't shake the feeling that someone, or something, had been standing right outside my door, waiting. But waiting for what? And why did the voice in my headphones know? By morning, I was convinced that it had all been a mix of exhaustion and paranoia. I'd been stressed at work, barely getting enough sleep. My mind was probably playing tricks on me. At least, that's what I told myself. But deep down, I knew something was wrong. A normal morning? When I woke up, everything felt eerily quiet. The usual city noises, the distant honking, the hum of passing cars, were muted, as if the world had momentarily paused. I hesitated before putting the earbuds back in. I wasn't sure if I even wanted to hear that voice again. But curiosity, or maybe some twisted sense of dependency, made me do it. As soon as the headphones connected, I held my breath. Silence. Then music. Just music. No whispers. No voices. For the first time in days, I felt relief. Maybe it really had been my imagination. Maybe the earbuds were just faulty. I got ready for work, left my apartment, and went about my usual routine. Everything seemed normal. Until lunchtime. Do not turn around. I was sitting in a small cafe near my office, scrolling through my phone with my earbuds in, when the voice returned. Soft. Direct. Do not turn around. Every hair on my body stood up. I nearly choked on my coffee. The voice had never spoken casually before. It had always been urgent, commanding. But this time it was calm. Almost patient. I froze, my hand tightening around my phone. Do not turn around, it repeated. My pulse hammered in my ears. I wanted to ignore it, to laugh it off. But something about the way it said those words made my body lock up. I could feel it now. That suffocating sensation. The weight of someone standing right behind me. I wasn't alone. I could almost hear their breathing. But no one was reacting. The cafe was still filled with people chatting, eating, scrolling on their phones. No one else seemed to notice anything out of the ordinary. But I knew. Something was there. Right behind me. Watching. Waiting. And I was too afraid to move. The shadow in the window. The voice didn't speak again. But I could still feel it. The presence, hovering just inches behind me. My throat was dry. Then, in the reflection of my phone screen, I saw something. A shadow. Just a faint outline, distorted, flickering, like static on a broken TV. And then, it moved. I jolted forward, nearly knocking over my coffee. The presence behind me was gone. I ripped the earbuds out and spun around. Nothing. Just the normal cafe crowd. But my hands were shaking. I gathered my things and rushed out of there as fast as I could. The stranger on the subway. I took the subway home, trying to convince myself that I was being paranoid. I should stop wearing these damn earbuds. That was the logical thing to do. But as I sat down in the near-empty subway car, I found myself putting them back in. I don't know why. The voice didn't come immediately. Instead, I heard my music playing normally. The rhythmic hum of the train. Everything seemed fine. Until I noticed the man sitting across from me. His face was wrong. Not disfigured. Not monstrous. Just off. Like an AI-generated image that doesn't quite get human features right. His skin was too smooth. His eyes too dark. And he was staring right at me. A deep, unblinking stare. My stomach twisted. I looked away, pretending not to notice. Then, through my earbuds. Get off at the next stop. The voice. My heartbeat spiked. Do not stay on the train. Get off now. I swallowed hard, sneaking another glance at the man. He hadn't blinked once. His head tilted slightly, like he knew, like he had been waiting for me to hear that warning. I stood up just as the train slowed. The man stood up too. My breath hitched. I practically ran out of the subway car, pushing past people as I hurried onto the platform. The doors closed behind me, and as the train pulled away, I caught one final glimpse of the man. Still staring, still smiling. But now his lips moved. I couldn't hear him, but I knew what he said. See you soon. I didn't go straight home. I couldn't. My mind was spinning, my thoughts tangled in fear and confusion. Who was that man? How did he know? And more importantly, what the hell was happening to me? I walked fast, my hands stuffed in my jacket pockets, the cold air biting at my face. I kept checking over my shoulder, convinced that at any moment I'd see him again, standing at the end of the street, watching. But there was no one. I was alone. Or so I thought. He's still following you. The voice in my earbuds returned. Low, controlled. But this time, there was something new in its tone. Something almost like urgency. I stopped dead in my tracks, my heart hammering in my chest. He's still following you. Do not look. Every muscle in my body tensed. I could feel it again. The weight of unseen eyes on me. I started walking faster. Shadows stretched long under the flickering streetlights. Every step I took echoed back at me, slightly out of sync, like there was a second set of footsteps, just a beat behind mine. I told myself I was imagining it. I was not going to turn around. I was not going to give in to the fear. But then, a whisper. Not from my earbuds. Not from my own mind. From behind me. You hear it too, don't you? My blood turned to ice. The voice was close. Too close. I bolted. Run. Just run. I didn't think. I just ran. Down the sidewalk, across the street, dodging cars, ignoring the angry shouts of drivers. I ran like my life depended on it. Because maybe it did. I ducked into an alleyway, panting, my lungs burning. My hands fumbled to yank the earbuds out, but no, keep them in. I froze. The voice wasn't gone. Even without the earbuds, it was still in my ears. Inside my head, the alleyway. The air was thick with the scent of damp concrete and garbage. A single flickering bulb buzzed above me, casting eerie, jagged shadows against the walls. I pressed myself against the cold brick, heart pounding, listening, straining to hear anything out of place. Silence. Then, a footstep. Slow. Deliberate. I squeezed my eyes shut. He's here, the voice whispered. Do not move. I held my breath. Somewhere in the darkness, something shifted. I could hear it now. The faint, raspy sound of breathing. Just a few feet away. Something was there. Something was waiting. And it was watching me. The wrong turn. I don't know how long I stood there. Seconds? Minutes? It felt like an eternity. And then, go. Now. The voice snapped me out of my frozen state. I pushed off the wall and sprinted down the alleyway, my feet pounding against the pavement. My ears were ringing, my pulse like a war drum in my head. The voice guided me. Left. Now right. Don't stop. I followed blindly, turning corners, dodging trash bins, leaping over puddles. And then, I saw it. A dead end. My stomach plummeted. I skidded to a stop, turning around. The alley was empty. Or, at least, it looked empty. But I knew better now. Just because I couldn't see it didn't mean it wasn't there. Close your eyes. The voice was calm now. Steady. Close your eyes. Count to 10. Do not open them before then. No matter what you hear. I hesitated. Now. I squeezed my eyes shut. And I counted. 1, 2, 3. The air changed. It became thick, heavy, like something massive was pressing against my chest. 4, 5. The distant hum of the city vanished. 6, 7. A breath. Right in front of my face. 8, 9. A whisper curling against my ear like smoke. Found you. 10. I gasped, eyes snapping open. But there was nothing. The alley was empty. The air was normal again. The voice in my earbuds returned. Calm. Cold. Go home. Now. Underscore 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 underscore. I didn't argue. I didn't think. I just ran. And I didn't stop until I was safely inside my apartment, the door locked behind me, my back pressed against it as I struggled to breathe. My phone screen flickered. The music app opened by itself. One new song had appeared in my playlist. A track I had never downloaded. It had no title, just a single timestamp, 3:15 a.m. I stared at it, my fingers trembling. And then, before I could even think, it started playing. I didn't press play. I didn't have to. The song started on its own. At first, it was nothing but static. A low, crackling hum, like an old radio struggling to find a signal. It sent a shiver down my spine. Then whispers. Faint. Indistinct. A chorus of voices, layered on top of one another, speaking in a language I didn't understand. My phone vibrated violently in my hand. The screen glitched. Dark lines flickered across it, distorting the time, the battery percentage, everything. It was like my phone was breaking apart from the inside. But the worst part? I knew one of the voices. Beneath the garbled, distorted murmurs, beneath the eerie static, I heard it. My own voice. Turn it off. The voice in my earbuds spoke again, sharp and urgent. I fumbled with my phone, my fingers trembling as I tried to exit the app. Nothing worked. The screen was frozen. The whispers grew louder, shifting, changing, turning into something else. Laughter. Low. Mocking. Like it knew me. Like it was enjoying this. Then, all at once, silence. The music stopped. My phone screen went black. And for a moment, everything was still. I let out a shaky breath, my heart pounding against my ribs. I wanted to believe it was over. That it had just been some kind of sick, elaborate glitch. But then, the notification popped up. New message received. I stared at it, my throat dry. The sender had no name, no number, just an empty void where the contact should be. I hesitated, my thumb hovering over the screen. And then, despite every screaming instinct in my body, I open it. The message. There were only 3 words. I see you. My breath caught in my throat. A second notification appeared. Another message. This time, it was an image. With shaking hands, I tapped to open it. It was a photo of me, sitting in my apartment, right now, wearing the same clothes, holding my phone, and behind me, a figure, tall, shadowed, looming just beyond the doorway. I dropped my phone. A cold wave of terror crashed over me, pinning me in place. I didn't want to turn around. I couldn't turn around. But then, a sound, a single, slow breath. Right behind me, the reflection. I moved on instinct. I grabbed the nearest thing, a glass of water on the table, and threw it backward as hard as I could. It shattered against the wall. No scream, no reaction, just empty silence. I forced myself to turn. There was nothing there. No figure. No shadow. Just my apartment, dimly lit, eerily quiet. Exactly the same. Except, something wasn't right. My eyes flickered to the mirror across the room. And my stomach dropped. Because, in the reflection, I wasn't alone. The figure was still there. Standing behind me. Perfectly still. Its head tilted, almost curious. But when I turned around, nothing. Only in the mirror, the voice's warning. My phone buzzed again. A final message. From the same empty sender. But this time, it wasn't words. It was a recording. A short, muffled clip. I hesitated, my finger hovering over the play button. And then, against my better judgment, I pressed it. For the first few seconds, there was only static. Then a voice. Not the deep, unsettling whispers from the song. Not the distorted laughter. It was mine. And it was pleading. If you're hearing this, it's too late. I felt the blood drain from my face. The recording cut off. Silence filled the room. And then, knock, knock, knock. A slow, deliberate knock at my apartment door. I didn't move, didn't breathe. The voice in my earbuds whispered one last thing. Calm, cold. Do not open it. The knocking didn't stop. It was slow, deliberate, rhythmic. Knock, knock, knock. Each tap against the door sent a shiver down my spine. The voice in my earbuds had gone silent. The only sound was my own ragged breathing, the pounding of my heart against my ribs. I stared at the door. I shouldn't open it. I knew I shouldn't. But then, my phone vibrated again. Another message. I hesitated, then slowly glanced down at the screen. Let me in. I sucked in a sharp breath. A second message popped up. A photo. I didn't want to open it, but my hands moved on their own. The image loaded, and my blood turned to ice. It was a picture of my apartment door, taken from the outside. Whoever, whatever, was knocking. It wasn't just outside my door. It was watching me, breaking the rules. My legs finally listened to my brain. I stumbled back, nearly knocking over the coffee table. My instinct screamed at me to run, but where? I lived on the 10th floor. No fire escape. No other exit. Just the door. And something was on the other side. The knocking stopped. For a moment, everything was silent. Then, my door handle twisted. A slow, careful turn. Testing. Checking. Seeing if it was unlocked. It wasn't. Thank God it wasn't. But then, my phone screen glitched. Distorted. A new message appeared. You locked the door. Smart. My throat went dry. How did it know? I backed further into the apartment, my eyes darting toward the windows. Maybe I could signal for help. Then my lights flickered. The apartment plunged into darkness. Only the glow of my phone remained. And then, a whisper. But this time, it wasn't in my earbuds. It was inside the room. Trapped. I turned slowly. A shadow stood in the corner. Not outside. Inside. My mind refused to process it. It was tall, impossibly thin, with elongated limbs that stretched toward the ceiling. It didn't move, didn't breathe, but I could feel it staring at me. A low, distorted voice crackled through the air. You broke the rules. I tried to speak, tried to scream, but my throat locked up. The thing took a step closer. I could hear it now, that same song from the app. It wasn't coming from my phone anymore. It was coming from it. The distorted melody hummed through the air, growing louder, sharper. The figure tilted its head, mocking. Let me show you what happens now. The final choice. My phone vibrated violently in my hand. Another message. But this time, it wasn't from the app. It was from an unknown number. A single sentence. Put the earbuds back in. Now. My hands trembled. The voice. It had saved me before. Could it save me now? I didn't have a choice. The shadow moved. I shoved the earbuds into my ears and pressed play. The second I did, the music shifted. The whispers changed. And the world tilted. The aftermath. I woke up on my living room floor. The lights were back on. The room was normal. No shadow. No whispers. No knocking. Just silence. My phone lay beside me. The app was gone. Not uninstalled. Not deleted. It was like it had never existed. But before I could process anything, one last message popped up on my screen. From the unknown number. You're welcome. Don't download it again. And just like that, the number vanished. Like it had never been there at all. The end. Or not. It's been weeks. I haven't heard the voice since. Haven't seen the shadow. But sometimes, when I put my earbuds in, I swear just for a second, I hear it. The hum of static. A whisper. A voice I can almost recognize. And I wonder, did I really escape? Or did I just let something in? And that's how it all ended, or did it? Even now, sometimes when I put my earbuds in, I hear something, just a faint whisper, a static hum. Maybe it's nothing, or maybe I never really escaped. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Your support helps bring more terrifying stories to life. Turn on notifications so you never miss a new nightmare. Would you dare to download the app? Let me know in the comments.